Hi everyone, I welcome you all once again to the discussion forum. So we are conducting a series of discussion on the concept of drug discovery. Today is along with us is Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta, who is the renowned person in the drug discovery process. He has done his postdoc in the drug discovery, especially in molecular docking. Once he was a research scientist in AstraZeneca. During the industrial collaboration of AstraZeneca and University of Leeds, he has developed a software regarding for the drug discovery process. So today is with Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta, who can enlighten us about the various concepts of drug discovery. So today's topic we have very precisely come to the about the target identification. So with us is Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta, who can share his views on various aspects of the drug discovery. Sir, please, sir.
Yeah. Hi guys. In continuation of our effort for the better understanding of drug discovery process, in the previous discussions, we cover the various point for the drug discovery on a very surface level, like the selection of disease, then identification and validation of the drug targets, assay development, and other points. Today, we try to address one by one this different aspect of the drug discovery process. So once if you look for the selection of the disease, then the next important aspect come in the picture, that is the identification and validation of a target. And ultimately, when we look for this identification and validation of target, there is the key aspects are there. Basically, we can do these things by two way. One is through the wet lab, another through the dry lab. And actually, why target identification is important? The most important thing is that when you develop a new molecule, that molecule is able to subside the growth of microbes, or they are able to produce the desired effect in the biological system that can be achieved by the specific pharmacodynamic of the molecules, means how they act on the biological systems. So ultimately, in that case, there is the basic knowledge of the disease is required. If we consider the disease might be take place due to some bacterial infection, so there is the need to subside the bacteria or to produce the cidal effect in the bacteria. And ultimately for that, there is the different type of enzymes are involved in the normal functioning of the microorganisms. And if we attack on that enzymes, in that conditions, the normal functioning of the microorganism is affected. And generally, this normal function when affected, the bacterial growth may be convert into static form, or they may able to produce the cidal action. So if the bacterial growth is then in the form of static one, or if they produce the cidal action, so the disease may be subside, or their symptoms is automatically reduced and person will be cured. So how we can look for the enzymes? So which enzymes play key role in the survival of microorganisms? For that purpose, there is the need to go for the target identification. And actually, when we look for this target identification, there is the need to go for the gene sequencing of that microorganisms. Once we go for the gene sequencing of the microorganism, then we develop the complete genome of that specific microorganisms. And once when we develop the genomes, out of that genomes, we look for the identification of gene which is responsible for the expression of specific proteins which may be turned into a desired enzymes. So when we go for this type of understandings, we look for the which gene is essential for the survival of microorganism. So ultimately, once we get the complete gene sequencing, then we go for the gene analysis, and next stage is come in the form of the target identification step. And here basically we go by two methodology. One is the wet lab method, another is the dry lab method. In case of wet lab method, we go by two basic techniques. One is the knockout technique, another is the knockdown technique. And if you look for the dry lab, then definitely there is the another two methods are there, which is broadly categorized as bioinformatics tools and virtual cell. So what is this knockout technique or what is this knockdown technique? So ultimately in the wet lab, there is the need for the multiplication of that microorganisms are with the desired or specific gene up to a certain specific level, then it is called knockdown. And if we completely remove the gene, then it is called the knockout technique. Suppose there is the X gene is there and we look for the essentiality of that X gene. So in that condition, we can go for the knockdown or knockout technique. So in case of knockout, maybe achieve this thing through a different ways, like the gene silencing or through the gene mutations or through the gene interference type of things or siRNA type of techniques. So ultimately in that case, when we go for the multiplication of that specific microorganism by just removing the specific gene, and we look, if we remove that specific gene, after that when we go for the multiplications or when we go for culturing of that microorganism, it is take place or it not occur. If suppose that gene is essential for microorganisms, then in that conditions when we go for the multiplication of microorganism, it is not occur if we completely go for the knockout of that specific gene, or means we remove the genes from the specific portion of that DNA. So that thing says that gene is essential for the survival of the microorganisms. But if we look for that, generally in microorganism there are the different pathways are there, and these pathways are having a 8 to 10 steps, or sometimes maybe 12 steps. So sometimes it might happen when we go for the knockouting of the specific gene, then some alternative pathways may be activated and the survival is remain there. So we look for such specific gene. Without the absence of that gene, if the survival is stopped, then we can say that this gene is essential. And ultimately, how these genes play key role. There is the different steps is there in the microorganism system that call the transcriptions of the genetic informations, and then there is the translations. And this transcription and translation result in the synthesis of protein, and that protein may be play role in the form of enzymes. So ultimately, the specific genes may result in some specific form of enzymes, and which play key role in the pathway of the specific type of protocols which required for synthesis of some specific end product, like the ischemic acid pathway, which having a few steps, and they give the some essential end product which is required for the survival of the microorganisms. And if we look for the knockdown study, in case of knockdown study, we just see up to what level of separations of that specific gene is required for the killing of the microorganism or just stopping the growth of the microorganism. So in that case, we just subside the gene for their expression up to 30% level, up to 40% level, up to 50% level, and we look for the at which level if we suppress that specific gene, the microorganism is remain static or microorganism is killed out. So if suppose the knockdown state, suppose knockdown state give the idea that the gene X is essential for the survival of that microorganism, as well as suppose gene Y is also essential for the survival of microorganism. Then how we can select the target, gene X or gene Y? So in that condition, we go for the knockdown steady, means we look for the expressions up to which level it is required. Suppose the gene X is required for the survival up to the 50% expressions, and gene Y is required for survival up to 70%. So in that conditions, which target is quite suitable for us? So definitely if it required less separations, then it is comparatively good as compared to the gene which required high separation of their expression. So in that case, the gene Y is quite suitable as a target. Here we need to only inhibit the proteins or that enzyme up to a 30% level, while in case of gene X, we required the inhibition up to 50% level. So that can achieve by somehow in a different or tough manner as compared to the 30% expressions separations. So ultimately, this thing suggests that which target we can identify through this knockout or knockdown study. But still, it is a quite a huge process. There is the time-consuming methodology is there, and now the science is developed, and we are having a much more informations or much more data about the microorganisms. Then we shifted towards the dry lab, and in dry lab, generally we use our computational tools for the understanding of the microorganism survival. And here basically the key tool which is related with the bioinformatics, and in that conditions generally till time, as per my knowledge, we have the genomes of 19 microorganisms, and out of that we also having an idea about the essential gene as well as non-essential gene of this 19 microorganism. So we just categorize this gene into essential gene and nine non-essential gene into a database, and later on when any new target or any new microorganism come in the picture, then how we can compare if data is belong to the essential or that can be belong to the non-essential. Then we go for the comparative study of their sequence with the available information of that 19 microorganisms through the sequence alignment techniques. It may be a the 1:1 sequence alignment or 1:2 multiple sequence alignment type of things, and we find out that suppose if we take the sequence of X gene with the new microorganisms with available information or available database, and we go for the comparison of the sequencing alignment, and we find out that there may be a 80% match or there may be 90% match with the non-essential gene, and there is very less matching with the 10 or 20% with the essential gene in case of sequence comparison or sequence alignment. Then that is suggested that this X gene is possibly act as a non-essential gene for the survival of the microorganism. But if we look for the vice versa, if this in case of gene Y, suppose they are having a matching or they have the similarity up to 80% with the essential gene, and it may have the 10 or 20% with the non-essential gene database. So in that condition, we seems that this if we look for the Y gene, then it seems to be essential for the survival of microorganism. So we look for that this information can be generated through some comparison by means of multiple sequence alignment or by means of single sequence alignment type of things, as well as we also look for the phylogenetic three type of methods, and by virtue of that we can also identify the essentiality of the gene. But still this informations or this technique in a very preliminary stage, because we are not having much data. When we have our own data in a somehow more number of microRGM based systems in terms of non-essentiality and essentiality, then reliability of this dry lab techniques is enhanced. Apart from that, the another technique which are come in the picture nowadays, that is the virtual cell. Actually, in virtual cell, we look for virtual cell is nothing but it is a cell which is developed on the computer system, and they are just mimicking the similar nature as the cell, or they are simulating the similar nature of the cell. And in that case, definitely we develop different algorithms for the working of that specific cell. And here till time we are having much more information on the E. coli cell. So in E. coli cell, definitely we have the different pathways, and different pathways are required different constant for that enzymic enzymatic activity, as well as they also required some essential precursors and the intermediate precursors that later on we have the information of the end product. We just feed this all the data in the computer, and which give in term of cell mass as a end product. Suppose that there is some pathways are there, and in that pathway we look for the one specific enzyme which present in that pathway, and we try to just modulate that enzyme. Means we just go for enhancement of the activity of that enzyme, or just we go for the suppression of the activity of that enzyme, then how they affect the cell mass at a end product. If we suppress that enzyme and they reduce the cell mass, which suggests that the enzyme is somehow essential for survival of the microRGM. So definitely in that conditions, there is some enzymes which we identify that are essential, and some enzyme which we identify that does not affect the cell mass as a end product, that are non-essential. So by virtue of that we come with the target, but the process is not stop here only. Once we identify the target, the next thing is come, there is the validations and the ease of the availability of that target in terms of their crystal structure or their 3D informations. If it is available, then we can go forward for the screening purpose of that specific target. And definitely if we go for the validation, that validation is again come through the wet lab method only. Use dry lab is only giving the preliminary information, this is essential or this is not essential, but we can confirm that through the wet lab technique only. Means we definitely go for the expression of that gene and look for that suppression of expression of that gene. It is giving the sidal or static effect on that specific microRGM. That thing is give support to our identification things, that is essential or not essentials. Yeah, Hari.
Sir, thank you very much for your giving an insight about the target identification process. So I welcome you all for this question and answer session of this concept of drug discovery discussion forum with Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta. So sir has explained in detail about the various aspects of the target identification. So sir, I will ask one major question, that is the what should be the basic criteria of the target identification?
Basic idea of the target identification is that the essentiality of that target for the survival of the microRGMs. If it is essential, then we can consider it. But if it is the non-essential, then we can't consider it. So definitely how they affect the survival of microRGMs, that thing is play key role in the selection or identification of the target. voice नहीं है.
Sir, you have discussed about the two aspects. That is, one is the dry lab and second is the wet lab in the target identification. So, how will be the dry lab will be more beneficial than the wet lab, sir?
No, actually, we can't say that dry lab is more beneficial. Dry lab is just reduce the cost and speed up the methodology of target identification. Here just I give some good examples how this dry lab is used. Actually, dry lab is based on the computational information and our basic knowledge or basic information or data which available with us. So if we have the enrich of data, then the result of dry lab is quite realistic. But if the data is not enriched or we have the incomplete information, in that case the dry lab work is not having that much of the elasticness. But actually, if we look here how the dry lab is favor, that is completely depend on the available information with us. If you look here, the one thing which basically I always explain to my student, that is the growing of twins in two different situations. One is the situation where the environment is healthy and ethical things is going on, and the other counterpart twin is growing in the situation where the environment is not that much of healthy and non-ethical practices are growing on, or non-ethical practices adopted by them. Then after certain period, when these both the twins are grown up completely, then their behavior is completely different. One might having a good ethical practice while another is having a non-ethical practice. So the same thing happened with the training of our computer software. How we trained the software. If we train the software in a appropriate data or elastic data, then definitely the result which come out through this data is also elastic, and we can completely work on that. But if we go for improper training, or if you use the improper training set, then the result which come out from the virtual tools or these bioinformatics tools, that is also improper, and they are not having that much of elasticness. So definitely when we look for this dry lab work, it is just increase the overall speed of our drug discovery methodology or drug discovery durations. Basically, I told if we directly go for the wet lab, then it is a required somehow time period from 2 to 4 years in the target identification and validation. Apart from that, it required the huge investment. The cost is quite huge. But if we take the preliminary information from the dry lab, then definitely they reduce the cost as well as duration. But still, there is no alternative for the wet lab. At the last, we confirm our findings from the dry lab through the wet lab methodology. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, what are the approaches we are having in the dry lab? So, in dry lab, as you told, that bioinformatics will help a lot in the target identification and the virtual screening. So, how the bioinformatics perspective will have an advantage over the other techniques?
Definitely, bioinformatics having a quite advantageous position now, because we have supercomputer with us in the form of laptop, because this computational calculations speed is increased, which is previously available in the only some specific labs where we have the supercomputer. But nowadays, our laptop is also having that much of calculations, which may be a trillions of calculations in a very small time durations. But if you look for bioinformatics tools, how they beneficial as compared to the wet lab. So I already told there is no comparison in between the wet lab and dry lab. But the basic thing is that these bioinformatics tools help us or facilitate us to achieve the goal in a shorter duration, as well as with low cost. If we directly enter into the wet lab, then the duration is high as well as the cost is high. So definitely bioinformatics tools just help us, but still the few bioinformatics tools are available as an open source for the users. Few are free for the users, but still many tools which are having a proprietary rights, and there is the license is required for utilizing that type of tools. So the selection of the bioinformatic tools is also crucial when we go for the development or this and the identification of target. So ultimately the training is required for this bioinformatics tools. Then we can only able to utilize that tool up to their optimum level. Yeah.
Sir, if you see that there are various tools of bioinformatics is available, how we can generally, as a general question, how we can narrow down a target? Because if you see for any genetic disease or any infectious disease, there are various targets are available. Out of this, which one we can consider that this will be the best one? How we can narrow down the target?
Question is quite good one, as well as if we look for this bioinformatics tool in narrow downing of the target, the basic methodology is remain based on our informations or our databases. If we have the appropriate database, then we can use these bioinformatics tools for just narrow downing the target selection criteria. I already told in our discussion that till time, as per my knowledge, we have the genomic information of near about 19 microorganisms in respect to their all aspect. And according to that, we divided the essential and non-essential target from that 19 microorganisms. And this two category can be used as a training set for further reducing the probability of target in any new microorganism. So generally we go for the sequence alignment type of things for narrow downing the target, or we go for the phylogeneticity tree for narrow downing of the target, or we can also use nowadays the virtual cell. That is well-known virtual cell is developed for the E. coli, which is mimic or which is similar as the E. coli. So on the basis of the information of that E. coli virtual cell, we can also narrow downing the target. But still there is a huge work is required, or it is indeed, because the sources or data is not up to the mark till time. Only we have very small set of data with us. So we go for the narrow downing by means of this comparative type of things. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I thank you very much for your good insight into the target identification. So sure that we will discuss on each and every aspects of these stages of drug discovery in the future also. So I think that your continuous support for understanding of the basic concept of this drug discovery, especially in the aspects of this target identification. So the idea of this one, the concept of this drug discoveries discussion forum with Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta is to giving and more insight on each and every aspect of the drug discovery. So I surely tell you, we will continue this series of discussion forum with Dr. Arun Kumar Gupta until we are enriched with the ideas of the concept of drug discovery each and every stages. So I thank everybody. Thank you very much for your support for continuously viewing this channel. Thank you very much.